Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I believe that dance is therapy. So before I joined this university, I did research, and I teach that there are 5 elements, and there are 5 major positions. Why do I do that? I was teaching at a studio in Columbia, South Carolina, and I was walking barefoot outside of the studio, and one of the parents saw me walking barefoot, and this is a parent of one of the students, and she goes into the studio and is talking behind my back, calling me a devil worshiper, because I'm walking barefoot on the earth. So then I thought to myself, wow, there's something about nature that makes people uncomfortable. So then I thought, how can I as a teacher bring back nature in a world consumed by, of course, phones and mirrors and being insecure with what's happening in the news? So I really wanted to get into numbers and research. So then I was like, okay, we have a phone today where everyone's in their phone. So I have asked Mark to go to etymaline.com. Are you there by any chance? Okay, can you please type in phalange, Phalange, please, sir? Appreciate you, man. And do you see an ancient military division when you read closely?
Mid-15th century phalanx, ancient military division.
Good, right there. So, why am I looking at that bone? My brother went to the Marines and he saw horrible things. He has not been the same since. He is heavily medicated, and I'm very sensitive to, first of all, the people who are harmed by war, and of course our veterans who come back rattled. So if maybe I am a veteran and I've seen things being blown up and people dying, if I see my bone as this military ancient fortress, maybe now I can have more compassion and closure with being shell-shocked. I'll never forget hugging my brother, and for the first time I felt him cry, and he was just like this because of all this aggression. So maybe I can salute my phalanges in a calm way. So what Mark did, I get my students to do now. So we're doing things in class with our phones, looking up parts of the body, and then also physically moving. Then I found the tibia. 3 bones today. The tibia means a flute. So the tibia is in my shin, right? Mozart has a magic flute, right? Thinking that's art, where there was dancing. So now, when we're moving, your body is an instrument. So if my student is maybe majoring in music, or even psychology, or whatever, they can go to their phone and say, well, I am physically an instrument. You have organs, right? Organs play music. It's really cool. Now, that one is also designed for stimulating consciousness. I had one student, I'll never forget this, in continuing ballet last year. She approached me like this. And I already knew that she had told me about her depression. And then she told me, she said, Mr. J, I'm so sorry about not making it the other day, but I had suicidal thoughts, Mr. J. I had dark thoughts. And I said, wow. Then I got an email from another student who has a condition mentally where she gets depressed, she cannot move. She's frozen, and she's only had 3 classes. Whatever she comes, she gives 100%, right? But she can't get out of bed because of her depression. So I'm thinking, wow. And in an email she sent me, Mr. J, I said, I'm so sorry for missing all my classes. I don't want to affect my grade. And I said, my gosh, before your grades, your health. How are you doing? I said, don't worry about your grade. Whenever you came, you gave 100%. Another bone that I love, 3 of them today, is the lunate bone. Why am I into the lunate bone? I made some interesting connections with astrology and ballet. I'll keep it very simple. A pas de deux is a dance for 2. Where we have Gemini as twins. Simple. So I did that at one studio. I was very open-minded about my process. And one of the parents saw this, who was a Christian, which is okay, and she freaked out. And so she went to the directors, and she was crying. And I'm thinking to myself, my gosh, wow, I felt bad that the individual felt traumatized from astrology. And then secondly, I felt like, okay, how do I find a way, as a dance teacher, to bring in something that can make this conversation more diverse, where it doesn't matter what your political background is or spiritual, that we're somehow still focusing on this is about me teaching your child a unique way of dancing. I found the lunate bone. The lunate bone is a moon-shaped bone. And then I said I have a solar plexus, which is the sun and the moon. So physically, there's something happening in my body. So I said, okay, great. I'm going to go into my studio. I'm going to focus on the tibias, the flute, phalanges, bone. And I'm going to give them the lunate to get them to think about astrology, to see themselves as beautiful, diverse creations of many things. I always ask my dancers, what came first, the military or that bone? And they'll say, we did. And I'm like, right. And then something happens in their brains. This their brains start to see themselves as these diverse things. One more very important thing about the importance of what I asked Mark to do, it saved my life, because today I realized something very beautiful. We had Feldenkrais with JK, all about feet. Jason was the feet. Remember saying pedagogy. Ped is the feet, goge to protect. There's something about the feet that when I'm taught how to do it in ballet, they only say to go up and down and lift, which is okay, but there's unique energies in the feet. And in Feldenkrais, I realized that my toes weren't comfortably moving. There was this gripping from wearing slippers and shoes, and girls wear point shoes, and they have horrible, bumps, nothing personal, but of course they suffer greatly. So I'm thinking, my gosh, my feet have been dealing with all the Don Quixotes and Eurykilians, which is great, but there's something about knowing. So then I said, is Earth the cube in geometry? It is. If you research, you have a cuboid bone in your foot. I will show you. There's a cuboid bone. So today, for the first time, I said, you know what I'm gonna do? Taking my shoes off, I'm walking barefoot all the way here. I have no longer any pain in my butt where the glute is gripping because I was wearing sneakers and my foot could not read the cube. This is how I think. So now, for the first time, I'm easing myself through research. So I feel there is something about looking up a word, applying that word into either your life, into dance. However, my students could be scientists. They could be majoring in psychology. So if my dance class is only about technique, how can they make more connections that could possibly deal with their depression? I couldn't get up today, so maybe if I know that I'm a moon, or if I know I'm a flute, or that my cortex means the bark of a tree, and I'm a tree, there's something happening. I'm gonna spend the rest of this presentation playing this video, and I'm gonna read you a little bit of one of my students. She wrote me a letter about the class. I'm gonna read you the last sentences about how she felt. Her name is Kathy. She wrote, when I first started this class, I would often mess up and stop everything that I was doing. I would often tell myself I wasn't able to learn the dance choreography because my classmates were able to learn the choreography quickly and I wasn't. Now when I mess up, I would do something until I could get back into the choreography with the rest of the class. In other words, my ability to recover has increased over the semester, which then made me feel like, okay, great, she's confident. That's all I care about. So I will play you this video. Kathy is in here somewhere. I won't play the whole thing, but we'll just watch. Beginning modern angles in motion. This is about dance and literacy. I have them looking up body parts on etymology.com, yes or no? This group is looking up what bone? The tibia hitting means A, and your goal is to make dances based around the glute. We have over here, what is your bone? Which means, so you have tons of military phrases where you can play. It's simple. Over here we have the lunate bone, relates to the moon, and you're doing circular shapes. Simple. So you all go ahead and cook. I give you, 5 minutes. So now what happens? They're in their phones, no selfies, they're thinking about it, they're talking to each other, and what happens, they end up smiling a lot. So I'm gonna fast forward to the dances. Let's see where it is roughly. Sorry, how does this work, man? Oh, there we go. Boom. Am I tapping it wrong, brother? Sorry.
No?
Okay.
You just have to, let it load.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
Can you help me? I don't know how this works. I don't want to. I'm getting nervous.
See the play all the way down at the.
Okay.
See, it's where you want it to be, but now you just have to.
I
put
think
it
it's just about there. Yeah, that'll be good.
We call this Michelin Man. Tires, circles around the body. Cool.
So they're working on phrases they know, and there's the flute.
Very good.
So they're embodying the moves.
Longy bones right here.
They're still working on them though, so pardon me, I have them doing run-throughs, sorry, pardon me.
Can build a tip line.
What level class is this here?
Sorry, it's beginning modern. Thank you, good question. Sorry, it's to the end. Okay, here we go.
Next, let's go.
Here we go.
Show us. Whenever you want to go. No music, just you. And. Uh-huh. Cool. Ba-ba-two, ba-ba-two. Uh-huh. Tapa tap, 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 tap. And 2, tap, tapa ti. The flute. Ba, 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 ba. Good. Boom, ba, ba. Oh, with Taurus phrase. I like how you added that. You are geniuses. Of course you are. You know what you're doing. Boom, tap, tap. Oh yeah, all this in a few minutes. Look, they made their own dance. Look at this. Geniuses. Playing the flute in a circle. Wow, that is awesome. Applause. Phalanges. What is your bone again? Military division. Phalanges. Here we go. And boom, tap, tap, boom, tap, tap, boom, pop, pop, 2. And a boom, pop, boom, pop, 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 beep, pop, boom, pop, pop, beep, pop, pop. Good. Tank, phrase, all military moves, making a cannonball. Very good. Boom, pop. Field goal phrase, very cool. Geometry, 2, top, pop. Okay, applause, thank you. Very good. All that in a few minutes. Wow, very good. This group is the lunate bone. And what does Luna relate to? The moon. Circles, here we go. 1 and a 2 and a bump, 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 and a bump, 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 beep, bop, bump, 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 beep, bop, 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 bump, bop, 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 boom, bop. Beep, ba 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 ba, boom, boom, ba 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 ba, elbow, boom. That's the archery phrase, very good. That's a circular crescent moon arm, like the lunate bone, ba 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 ba. Playing with the flute, your tibia, you adopted the new move, very good. Applause.
So, okay.
Are you noticing a
That's pretty much what I do. And so the most important thing for me is, I know that when students come in, they spend most of their time doing this, so that when I'm trying to get them to look up and speak with me, there's this tension. And I know where it comes from, because I do it too, and I'm a bit like insecure about myself sometimes too. When someone says you're a devil worshiper for walking barefoot in your own studio, it's very hard, and you're trying to show children to love nature, it can be tricky. So it's just about me trying to find as many diverse ways to make this world, I guess, a more open place for everyone, as opposed to it being this ew thing. And that's my presentation. Any questions or thoughts, concerns?
In your studies, research, what is the definition of pedagogy?
Pedagogy?
You said pedagogy, P,
Mhm.
pedagogy,
Mhm.
is pedagogy.
It's a teaching of dance.
It's teaching pedagogy, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes I wonder when I listen to and I read any, you speak fast and I can see how clear these connections are. How do you go about making the connections as in relationship to your pedagogical methods?
Great question. Yes, sir. Thank you.
What have you found out? Like,
Yes.
when you say,
Sure.
this, that,
Sure.
that.
Sure. I can tell you how I break it down. So when I first started seeing numbers, I saw 5 elements. I saw 5 major positions. I said, where in my body is the number 5? Bicep would be 2, tri is 3. So now the words in my body are becoming 1. So now when I see a word like pedagogy, I can then now say, maybe this is a word with 2 words in it. Kind of like if you get William, you can get Bill. If you get Richard, you get the other name with a D. These words are so interchangeable, so etymology also provides that for me. It shows you that Richard can be this, or Africa means terra, for
So
example.
you treat it as if it was poetry. As
Yes, in a
you
sense.
divide the
Yeah.
words and-
And I started to see that ped, is an actual word. So I was like, okay, let me see if I can see this word in a different way, so that when I'm teaching, I can see metaphorically that my body is hiding behind things and it's always there. I want to decode that with etymology, and I want to encourage my students and yourselves to just look up your body parts, the names. For example, I can do a word like Isabella, Elizabeth. Beth means the house. El is the Hebrew word for God, so if, never mind being in Judaism, you can say, oh, it's simply the house of God. I've told someone that working at a grocery store, they were like, oh wow, I didn't know. So it's like there's something about the electricity of knowing that your name has a meaning, it's got some other thing in it. And then we go to certain places to get this information, get to pay money for. I'd rather it be something easy, accessible. You come to me whenever you want, ask me questions. Make sense?
Good. No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are within our class time.